Hi, I'm Melissa Phipps, the Accountability Specialist for the Martin County School District. Today, I would like to share with you how the DOE VAM is calculated. VAM means Value Added Model. The Florida Department of Education uses a value added model to measure the contribution of a teacher or school on student learning growth. These models are used in other industries as well to determine the value of specific influences or impacts. Fourth through eighth grade math teachers, Algebra 1 teachers of 8th and ninth grades only, and 4th through 10th grade ELA teachers all receive a VAM from DOE. The Florida Department of Education uses a complex statistical model to calculate each teacher's VAM score. This model includes 10 different variables, all of which are listed below. The Florida Department of Education uses the variables to predict a score for each student. Once the student has tested, their predicted and actual scores are compared. A portion of scores above the predicted score are attributed to the teacher as value added. Here is a model that explains value added. The gold bar is the expected score. It represents the level of performance the student is expected to demonstrate after statistical accounting for factors, including prior test scores through the value added model. The blue score is the student's actual score. A portion of the difference between the expected and the actual score represents the value added for that student by the teacher's instruction. A teacher's roster will include each student the teacher verified during the roster verification process. The teacher's VAM will be made up of all of these student scores. If a teacher teaches both math and ELA, that teacher's VAM will be made up of all of these student scores in both subjects. DOE provides this score to the Martin County School District. The student growth score that appears in iObservation for all teachers who receive a VAM from DOE is a 3-year aggregate score that the Florida Department of Education calculates. This score includes 3 years of data when available. To calculate an average, you add 3 single-year scores together and divide by 3. An average looks at each year independently of any other year's data. An aggregate score is calculated by combining the previous 3 years of student scores in the VAM formula. The more consistent the scores have been, the lower the standard measure of error. This means that if your student scores have been consistently low, then the model will give you less of a benefit when calculating your 3-year aggregate VAM score. If a teacher has received a DOE VAM for the previous 3 years, DOE calculates a 3-year aggregate score for that teacher, and this is what appears in iObservation. The DOE will calculate an aggregate VAM for every teacher who has a DOE VAM for any of the last 3 years. If a teacher has no other student growth scores within the district, then this aggregate will be used as the number in iObservation. If a teacher has a DOE VAM for some years and a locally calculated VAM for other years, a weighted average will appear in iObservation. The way we calculate a weighted average is, for instance, if a teacher had a DOE aggregate of a 3 for 2 years of data and a locally calculated VAM of a 2 for 1 year of data, we would add the 3 twice for the 2 years plus the 2 for the 1 year would give us a total of 8. We would take the 8 and divide it by 3, which gives us 2.33, which rounds to a 2. So a score of 2 would appear in iObservation. The 3 is added twice because it represents 2 years of data. The use of a 3-year aggregate means that 1 year of low student scores, students not meeting their predicted scores based on the 10 factors, affects a teacher's VAM for 3 years. After the 3 years, the score will roll off and no longer be included in the aggregate. This is true for DOE VAM as well as locally calculated student growth scores, since the 3-year average is used locally. For a complete explanation and list of resources on how the Florida Department of Education calculates teachers' VAM, please visit the following link. You can also contact the Martin County School District's Accountability Department. Thank you.